Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross.
Hi, hello, hey, hi.
I'm going to talk to you about success. Yes.
Hi, it's Nicola here, and I'm back from Brisbane, and I'm back in sunny Shoreham by way of Chipping Norton. So, wow, that jet lag, that's a killer. I had an absolutely fantastic time in Brisbane. We had an amazing time. Neil and I got on really well. We had a lovely time showing an Airbnb, and we had a great time at the conference, as you probably saw if you saw the previous episodes. And then I travelled back on Monday after the conference, and it just seemed to go on forever. And I got to Chipping Norton finally on Tuesday because it was a 2-day journey, but because you're going back in time it didn't feel like it, or didn't look like it. And then I fought off the most horrendous jet lag for the next 2 or 3 days. It was horrendous. I was asleep in the daytime, awake at night, trying to keep my head together. But luckily by the time the VIP day, dinner and day rolled around, I was pretty much compos mentis again. So I was down there to spend a VIP day with my client Jane, and we had an amazing dinner out, and then we got to work on creating her 1-year business plan for her next business, and we talked about everything from financial goals to who her ideal client was. We created a program that she was going to teach. Jane had all the elements of this, but I just helped bring it together in a coherent plan. And by the end of the day, she had a 10-year, 3-year, one-year plan. She had a program name. She had a website name. She had a Be Everywhere Online plan, and she knows exactly what she's supposed to be doing for the next 1 month, 3 months and 12 months. So that was very cool. And then I crashed again the next day because I had to travel back to Shoreham, and by the time I got here I was absolutely pooped. So the rest of the weekend was just spent recovering, and here we are on Monday and I'm feeling pretty normal again now, so that's cool. But it was a fantastic time in Sydney. There were 110 Amazon e-commerce store owners, mainly Amazon, some eBay, and they all absolutely loved it, and they loved me, and they loved my Be Everywhere Online program, so you can't ask for more than that because I've got loads of wonderful new clients out of it. So the other thing that's become very obvious from that is that there are a number of people in that room who will never want to do it themselves. They just want to create the content like I am here, and then they want a team who can take it from them and do the whole Be Everywhere Online thing for them. So we're just practicing that for me now, because there was a few elements that I was still doing myself that I shouldn't have been, and so we're just going to practice that now over the next couple of weeks, and then we're thinking of offering that as a done for you service. So getting the team in place, getting the elements all really ironed out, and we'll see what happens at the end of the next week or so. So if you think you might be interested in that, all you need to do is send me an email, nicola@nicolacairncross.com. Basically it's how to be everywhere online in under 20 minutes a week, because we're just down to the talking to camera bit now, and then we can take it from there for you. So what else is happening? I've got a week in the UK now. I'm going to have dinner with one of my mentors and a very old friend tomorrow night, and then I'm going to stay with my old friend Kim, who lives in the most darling little cottage in Steyning High Street. And then it's off to Gatwick again on Friday night for the Oh Dark Ridiculous flight back to Kalamata. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm going back to my new little house out there, and it's just going to be great. I'm going to spend every sort of 3 months in Greece and then pop out occasionally for events and speaking gigs. It's going to be really, really hot when I get back there because it'll be July, and I've ordered my super jumbo deluxe mosquito nets to go over the beds already because I can't sleep if there's mozzies in the room. But the sea and the sand and the gorgeous warm weather will just make up for it all. I'm really looking forward to getting back.
Sorry, Snoopy. You can't go with us. Dogs aren't allowed on the school bus.
Woof.
Okay, so we're back and I've got the ring light on and I appear to have gone bright red because it's got rather warm in Shoreham all of a sudden. So I thought what we could do today, I've already mentioned in the first part of the Vzine about creating a new product. And the reason that I'm thinking of creating this new product is because the experience I'm having when talking to people as they go through the Be Everywhere online course, and also when I go out to the VIP days to work through the strategy for the year and everything, it appears that there are going to be a few people who, no matter how much tuition I give them and how many videos they watch, they are not going to want to do it all themselves. So Sarah and I had a meeting today, very pleasant actually, outside the pub in the sunshine. Actually, that's probably why I've gone bright red. I've probably caught the sun. Working out whether it would be feasible to do an all done for you product around the Be Everywhere online concept. So first of all, what we did was we worked through what we do with my system and the bits and pieces where I'm still doing parts of it, and we immediately delegated those out to other people, Sarah, the VA, and Phoebe. And then we looked at the essential questions, and I've written them down here for you because I think if you're thinking of creating a product, these are a good set of questions to ask yourself. So the first one is, would it be good for clients? You don't want to sell something to your people just because you can. It needs to be something that complements your existing offerings and genuinely brings a value and a benefit to your clients. And in this case, it is obvious from talking to some clients that they are going to struggle to get this done, and so it would be of benefit to them if we could hold their hand right through the content creation and then take that content and just do it all for them for the next 12 weeks. And we're thinking of doing it on a rolling 3-month, 12-week cycle so that we can create all of the content for the next 12 weeks in one day with the client on Skype or on Zoom or whatever. Next question we ask ourselves is, do we actually want to deliver it? And it's a really important question because sometimes you come up with these great ideas and then after you sit with them for a little while you think, oh no, I don't really want to do that. So it's got to be something that you want to deliver or that you can totally systemize and outsource. And in this case, I love the strategy bit, I love the coming up with the ideas for the clients, and my sister Sarah is a really good systems person, so she's going to be doing the project management and holding people's hands and then making sure that each of our outsourcers do what they're supposed to do in a timely fashion. So do we want to deliver it? Yes, I think we probably do. So the next question is, can we deliver it? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the skills in-house, or can we hire in the skills? And the answer to that is quite definitely yes. Question number 4 is, what would you want to charge for a service or a product like this? So Sarah comes at it from the traditional angle, which is what would it cost and what profit markup would we need to put on it to make it attractive for us, whereas I come at it from what value would I give to a product or service like this, and usually we meet somewhere in the middle, so it's good to come at it from both ends really. Question number 5 is, do we think we can sell it for that? Whatever it is we've settled on as a great figure that we think's reasonable. The next question is for the person who's going to be holding the consultation sessions, or the person who's standing at the front of the room. Do they feel comfortable offering this product or service at that price? And in this case, we've come up with a price point that I think I would be happy offering it at. That's very important, that your salespeople feel really comfortable with what they're offering. The next question is, how can we test all of our assumptions in the most lean fashion? What's the minimum setup we need to do to test the whole sort of market to message offer and the whole sort of sales funnel and the whole consultation, if that's the way you're going to sell or whether it's going to be by a webinar? What's the minimum setup you need to do to test your assumptions and see if they're correct? And finally, number 7, what channels, what methods, what means have you got to be able to start talking about your new product or service and start getting some potentially interested prospects in the front end of your lean funnel to test your assumptions, because that's what you're going to need. Whether it's a question of sending an email out to your existing list, pushing your push notifications out through your app or through your push crew, or whatever other methods you've got, for example Facebook Messenger, or whether indeed you're going to need to run some Facebook ads. And remember, you need at least 100 conversions at each point of your funnel to be able to tell with pinpoint accuracy whether it's a goer or not, and whether you're getting decent conversions at every point of the funnel. So that's the thing to do, is push some traffic through and see what the response is, and then, you know, evaluate the traffic, look at each stage of the funnel, see how it's converting, and whether this is indeed a product or service that there might be a demand for. And if you don't have an offer that converts, then you're not in business, and we know that from previous experience, don't we? So I hope these 7 questions have helped you decide whether you might want to offer a new product or service to your customers. Always be customer focused, always think to yourself first, is this a good thing? Do my customers need this? Would it take them from a place where they are now, i.e. wanting to be everywhere online, but not quite feeling confident enough to create the content themselves, to a better place, which is where perhaps they spend a day with someone and create all the content in one go for the next 3 months? I think that would be a bit of a goer. So you may have noticed the new non-all black clothing range. I've got lots of new clothes. I've been buying white, beige and blue linen and lots of summer wear, which is really very nice, and I didn't realise how gloomy the black was making me feel until I started wearing the lighter colours. So that's very cool. Let's just tell you what's on the blog and the podcast this week. Okay, so on the podcast this week we've got managing client change. We've got a client challenge where a client wants to change the way they do business, and some of her existing clients are proving reluctant, to say the least. So we talk through how you can nicely manage change for your clients. And the week before that was the Fear of Failure episode, where Neil, Asher and I talk about the biggest single client challenge he sees with his clients, which is the fear of failure, which leads to them stopping taking action in the first place. I was a bit jet lagged that week, to be fair, but my main stance on this is that if you don't try, you've already failed, so you've got nothing to lose by having a go. And previous to that was running multiple businesses. We had a client who had 4 or 5 things on the go, and we discussed, both having been guilty of this in the past, we discussed, you know, the benefits and the downsides of running multiple businesses. So go and check it out on ownitthepodcast.com. And on the blog this week, there's a post about how to think more effectively, and I share several of the tips that I've learned over the years about how to organise your thoughts and think through problems to come up with creative solutions or even practical solutions. Neil and I talk about how to put on effective events, and he talks us through the process by which he decided not only to have an event for his Aussie online entrepreneurs, but which city to hold it in and what kind of things should be included. And I'm trying to send an email to my list every day with content of value, and today I was inspired to write an email and a blog post about whether politicians can affect our success. Jeremy Corbyn just got on stage at Glastonbury to a rock star welcome, apparently, and interestingly the story ties in with one about one of my very previous ex-boyfriends. So go and check that out on nicolacairncross.com/blog. I'll see you in Greece next week, and I hope you're enjoying the Vzine. Do feel free to comment underneath, or if you're on the blog, comment above, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Do let me know if you want me to cover anything specific in the middle bits.